Hey, what's up, you guys? All right, well, this morning I made a video pre-recorded, about half asleep, only because, of course, I work tremendous amount of hours and everything else, so I kind of limited my time as far as being up and around and doing stuff. But now that I'm a little more focused, and listening to a lot of the analysts here on like ESPN and CBS and NBC and everything else, the big thing is with today's game, obviously, it's going to be just like I said earlier in the video. It's going to be up to the coaches. You put together a good plan. You execute a good plan. You wrap it up together with the players. No matter how much you pay these guys their salary or anything else, it's up to their plans. Up to the coaches. The coaches are the ones that are going to either win or lose this game. Whether the player executes it or not, it's going to be up to the coaches. So like I said, Doug, Jim Schwartz, the offensive coordinators, everyone had to get together this week and do their homework, especially when it comes to the Falcons. One thing I will say, though, if the Eagles happen to pull off the win today, and I'm going to use the word if because, we can all be confident saying they are going to win. And, of course, we hope that they're going to win. But realistically, we just hope that they are. If they do, regardless of who they face next week, the Saints and or the Vikings, because we have to see who's going to win the outcome of that game. If the Eagles can pull off this win here and beat either or team next week, and I try not to look into the future, but if that's the case, whomever we would face in the Super Bowl, I would say that we would win. One is I believe the Saints are going to beat the Vikings. I think the Vikings play well, don't get me wrong, but I think the Saints have a little more to play for than what the Vikings do, even though the Vikings have the same struggles as we've had in years past. So what I believe is, again, it's going to come down to the coaching staff and everything else for this game to be possible, for one. For two, that, again, the whole cold factor, and I've been hearing it from, again, ESPN, NBC, and everyone else, just get that out of the equation. The weather will not play a factor whatsoever. It just won't. It's going to be the better of, obviously, either or two teams. So if the Falcons come to play, they win it, well, guess what? That cold air doesn't mean anything. I want to remind everyone, again, about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the year that they ran through us, right? Warren Sapp even said it at one time. Cold, brisk, brutal. He said in a post-game interview, it didn't matter, and they went on to win the Super Bowl. So it doesn't matter whether they're a dome team or not. Whomever the hungriest team is to make it to the Super Bowl will do so. Atlanta will remind us that they made it last year, and they choked against the Patriots. They blew it. They came out the first half just thunderous. The second half, they folded. It could be a possibility, same thing with this game here. Could be a low-scoring event, possibly, but I think it's going to have to run on the running game. The running game for both teams are going to play a major factor. I think mostly because you also have the wins as well. And everybody knows who lives here in Philadelphia. You're right next to 95. You're right next to the Delaware River. So it does make it for, I don't even know what word to use here. But the wins down here, they end up kicking around outside the link and everything else. It could be, I don't know, convoluted, if that's the word I'm looking for, which is probably not anyways, but it sounds good. But it's going to come down to the coaching staff. I just hope everybody bundled up and have a great time down there. Hopefully nobody gets ridiculous. So far, we've been really well here in Philadelphia, accepting everyone. And even though we do have Falcons fans in the house since yesterday, we're going to have as much fun as possible. But it's going to be a great game, at least I believe. I think Nick Foles is finally going to come out of his shell to where he needs to be, have a little more confidence. If someone was listening to the interviews earlier with him, he was saying he has a 7-month-old daughter, God bless, and that he hopes that he can win or at least perform well for her so she can remember that in years to come. So let's hope that Nick Foles is correct on my behalf. Hello. Jay Ajayi, I think he's going to have a huge game, at least I believe, on my behalf. I think he's going to have a great game. Blount, obviously, he's going to be thrown in the mix as well. We have 4 good running backs. Right? Obviously, one being injured, but out of the 3, we can do some damage. Again, also, it's going to come down to the defense. If our offense can stay out there long enough to keep our defense, even in the first half, out from that field, of course, that's going to also help out beneficial in the second half of the game. So let's hope the offense, whether it's in the air or it's on the ground, they can get the job done. So that's the only major keys when it comes down to it. Obviously, turnover is going to be a huge factor, but that's any game. So if long we have minus yards, meaning from penalties, or absolutely no turnovers whatsoever, we should be just fine. So let's just hope that the outcome, again, will be with us with a victory. Whether it's 1 point, 3 points, whatever the case may be. Even if we're down by 7 and we can make it back in the 4th, I still think that will take that momentum into the NFC Championship game. But again, we have to pass the divisional round before we can talk about the NFC Championship game. Either way, it's been a great season for the Eagles. Who would have thought this year the record that they had would even came to fruition? So or fruition, I guess, for lack of other words. But it's going to be a great game. At least I believe. We've been waiting for it. It's been 2 weeks since the last one. The Dallas game was meaningless. No one really cares. There was a Dallas fan I was talking to earlier today, and he also knew it as well. Their year was last year, if they were going to do it. For us so far this year, we're looking even better than what Dallas did last year. So it's going to be good. I would like to see the rematch, if at all possible. Whether it be in... No, not really. The rematch I would like to see is... No, you know what? I would like to see the rematch with the Saints. And if we make it to the Super Bowl against the Patriots. Because this time around, unlike the last time we went, there was a whole cheating thing and blah, 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 and the T.O. and McNabb not getting along, so on and so forth. I don't want to see that as well. So I believe if we can beat, like I said, the Falcons this week, come next week, whether it be in the Saints or Minnesota, it doesn't matter because they're both excellent teams. No matter whom the Eagles will face in the Super Bowl, as long as they bring the same momentum from this game that we haven't seen yet, because we're more than, an hour, or a little less than about an hour and a half away from it, it should be just fine. So we'll see. I think it's going to be just fine. So, I don't know. Everybody enjoy the game. Again, I'm a little more awake than I was at about, 7 o'clock this morning, even though only because normally I get about 4 hours worth of sleep. So, I'm a little more pumped. I'm getting psyched as the game's getting closer. I'll be down there at Lincoln Financial Field a little bit later on. So, I might end up making a live video from there as well, if I'm not frozen by that point. But everybody have a great day. Enjoy the game. If you're going to drink and drive, if you're viewing this video down there at the Lincoln Financial Field, please utilize Uber, Lyft, or your local taxi service, one or two. Don't drink and drive. Arrive alive. Safety first more than anything else. Enjoy the game, everyone. Let's hope for a win. Go Birds.